Hello and welcome to Let Me Bore You to Sleep. My name is Jason Newland. Please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. Today is Tuesday the 4th of August 2026. I'm doing this quite early. That was a bit squeaky, wasn't it? I'm doing this quite early. It's 7:10 in the morning. I've got the window open. There's a few there's a pigeon in the background going hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo, in case there's anyone out there that doesn't know what a pigeon sounds like. Although maybe not all pigeons sound the same. Perhaps I'm stereotyping the pigeons. Maybe in other countries the pigeons might sound like see? A bit like the Tarzan movies. Not all of the Tarzans did the same yell. My favourite yell was oh. Oh no, that's Basil Brush. No. Oh. 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 Actually, I can't remember it now, but there's different ones. I like Johnny Weissmuller's one. Do you know Johnny Weissmuller won so many golds at the Olympics? I think one Olympics he won 3 gold medals, and the next Olympics he won 2 gold medals. Not recently, but back in the 20s or something. Then he had a film career, and I think he made like 12 Tarzan movies. Wow. There'll never be another Tarzan like him. It's a little bit Harry Pottery, isn't it? It's like there's a new TV show, I think, the new TV series of Harry Potter being made. And I think it's going to be hard for Harry Potter lovers to get their head around a different person playing Harry Potter. I think it's going to be difficult for them. It won't be difficult for me because I was never a Harry Potter fanboy, really. I see the first one. I've probably seen clips of the others, but I've never not watched them. I know little bits of what happened because I've seen, people have been talked about it, and over the years people have mentioned stuff. But another thing I've always wondered is, the Matrix movie. People use that as like an example when they say, "Oh, what pill did you choose? The green pill or the yellow pill, or whatever?" Like I'm supposed to remember the colour of 2 pills in a movie that's 3 hours long. Yeah, there was 2 pills that he was asked to choose. Why am I supposed to remember the colours of them? Yet it seems that everyone does. Well, I don't. Sorry. It could have been any colours. They were different colours. That was the point. I don't think the fact that they had specific colours really was important. It's just that he chose, or one was that everything stayed the same, and the other one was that his eyes were opened. That was the point of the pills, wasn't it? So he could see the truth. I think. been a while since I watched that movie. I think that's another example of having a really successful movie kind of surprisingly successful, and then being given huge amounts of money to write the script for another one. And not knowing what to do. Because the third one, it just, I don't know, it almost, but it just seemed as if they were just, I can't really explain it. I watched it when it came out, and kind of the question was, why did they make the movie? The fourth movie was kind of interesting because I think it was 20 years between the last one. I mean, the same thing happened, well, not the same thing, but with what was it called? The X-Men. In the third X-Men movie, two of the main characters are extinguished. The one with the laser eyes and the one in a wheelchair. See, when you do that, it's hard to, you take out two of the main stars. I mean, I guess some would argue that Wolverine was the main star, but Professor X, Xavier, was, you know, a prominent person, and Laser Eyes was, I'd say, prominent also. Although he never really made use of him the way they did in the comics, or in, okay, I didn't used to read the comics, but I used to watch the cartoons, and he was so powerful in the cartoons. Yeah. The thing is, Wolverine was very much like Scrappy Doo. Like, when he was against humans, he was phenomenal, because he was like 20 times their strength, and he had his little claws, didn't he? But then whenever he came against like a bad person, a naughty villain, like a super villain, he was just chucked around like a little kitten attacking a bear. It was just like, it was silly. It's another thing, like with Superman. I watch, and I love all these superhero movies. I don't, even the ones that are kind of, people moan about and saying they don't like them the way it's going. Like, I still like them. I watch every superhero movie ever. But there is come to one, like, especially with the more recent Superman, the main one over the last sort of 15 years, that one. Not the new one. And he'd have these fights. He'd been doing all these things when actually all he had to do was just do his laser vision, and he could have just destroyed or he could do these. There's certain things he could have done which could have destroyed the opponent, but instead he goes to have a punch up. But then I think a lot of that is because he didn't want to hurt anyone. That's why Black Jack, is it Black Jack? Black Atom or whatever it was, The Rock played. He didn't care about hurting people, so he was like an anti-hero. That was the best part of the movie for me, because he just really didn't care. And you had all the other kind of heroes trying to save the people that he was getting rid of, clearing up his mess. I want to watch that again. That was a good movie. I like that one. So I had a weird experience this morning. I woke up quite early, and I'm literally just sort of walked into the living room, and I hear a scream, like really loud scream. And no, I didn't see myself in the mirror. Rude. And Vinny started barking. Now, I had none of the windows open wide. They were on a latch, but, you know, he doesn't normally bark at stuff like that. He started barking. And I stuck my head out the window. I opened it first. I learned from that mistake. And I was like, there was just silence. Absolute silence. Not during the scream, I mean after the scream. Otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it. When I woke up this morning, came into the living room, complete silence. And then I put my head out the window. Vinny started barking. That wouldn't make sense, would it? But yeah, it's I was listening out. Because Vinny barked, I wondered if it was someone that he knew. Because he's got family around here. He's got, you know, his mummy lives up, a few doors up. He's got his uncle that lives just over the fence. He's got his auntie that lives downstairs. He's got his girlfriend that lives on the other building as well. That's the lady, she's just had a baby, but that's his girlfriend. Even though he doesn't see her very often. He's a worse boyfriend than me, blimey. So they're the people that he really loves. Like, he'd listen. If any of those cried out, he'd be there, barking. It doesn't normally bark when there's screams, because I'm living on an estate with lots of screaming. I live near a school where there's screaming all day long. I can't really hear a lot of it, but there's, you know, when they get out of school, they're screaming. During the summer holidays, they're screaming. So hearing screaming is not that unusual during the day. At night, and I'm talking early hours of the morning, that was very unusual. So I'm kind of like, I hope they're okay. I give it about 10 minutes and I call the police, because I don't want to leave it just in case someone's in trouble, but it didn't sound like they were really close. It sounded in the distance, but it also sounded like something I've not really, not that I've never heard before, but that didn't sound promising, you know what I mean? I don't think it was, it didn't sound like someone who just they'd had a bad haircut, you know, they were blindfolded, had a bad haircut, and then unveiled, and it's like wasn't what they wanted. Not that kind of scream. So I called the police, and That's weird, but an American answered the phone. Said, "Hey, what would you like? Would you like an ambulance, or you want to talk to a police or to the fire service?" Maybe it wasn't like that, but it's definitely sounded American to me, the man. And I'm thinking, maybe we are outsourcing. Maybe they're outsourcing to other countries. Doesn't make any difference, really, does it? Because they just answer the phone and then pass it on. So really, anyone could answer the phone and say that question and then pass it on to whichever service. And the most important thing is that the person can speak clear English and can understand clear English. Because, emergency services, that'd be very important, wouldn't it? I know, maybe they didn't not understand clear English, but understand all the different accents as well. Because if you're from another country and you've never been to England, and I played you like a list of different accents from around the country, and I said to you, which country do you think they're from? You'd struggle. But probably at no point would you think that they were from England. Or I watched Frasier the other day. It's the episode where her ex-boyfriend, Daphne's ex-boyfriend, comes back after 5 years. They've got this pact that if they haven't found anyone else, then they'll get back together in 5 years' time. And she ends up pretending that Niles is her husband. It's quite a good episode because they're all kind of lying and just, I quite like it. At one point, and this kind of spoilt the episode for me, but I remember it and I knew he was going to say it because I've seen the episode before. The supposedly English person, and he's not English, he was trying to put on an English accent, which he did quite a good job of it, but at one point he said about the apartment, or your apartment is lovely. I was like, oh no, lovely. I don't think an English person's ever said lovely. That's what's his name from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, isn't it? Is it Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? If I put in love Lee, Loverly, no, it's not coming up. Right, that's not Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Chitty Bang Bang. Why is it not coming up? Anyway, it was... Who's that bloke that was in those movies? Okay. Very famous man. Actor. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Dick Van Dyke. He was in a few different movies, wasn't he? Like that. Anyway, I'll just bang the desk. This episode, I need to find out which one it was. 'Cause I want to find out who the bloke was. Frasier. Episode where Daphne's ex-boyfriend turns up. The Two Mrs. Cranes. Here we go. So let's have a look. The Two Mrs. Cranes. I want to find out who the person was that played her ex-boyfriend. 1996 that was. Stars. Oh, come on. It's got. Oh, give me the person. Give me the name. Kelsey Grammer, John Maloney, Scott Atkinson. Scott Atkinson. Scott Atkinson was born 23rd of July 1966 in Pennsylvania, USA. He was an actor, writer, known for his... he was in Dexter as well. Oh, he's not with us anymore. Born 66. Wow. So yeah, he was 66, 76, 86. So I knew he was not English, just because the accent, it was all right. I think if it had been kind of like a posh accent, I think it's the same, I think, with America and England. People in England don't really know what it's like in America. Apart from people that have visited and lived there and stuff, but and I think it's the same. And also, if you go to a country and you only go on holiday, and you stay in the resort, or you just stay you only go to the attractions, then you still don't really know what the place is like. Wherever you go in the country. I mean, I went to Bulgaria once, stayed in a hotel on a mountain in the snow, and only left the hotel to go snowboarding. Apart from that, I went for a little walk outside. So I got there by coach and then left by coach to the airport. I saw, well, actually on the way there it was night time. When we left it was in the morning. So I saw the buildings as I was walking, as I was in the coach heading towards the airport. And it was quite surprising because I'd spent 6, 7 days, 8 days in this country, and I never really saw any of it other than the inside of a building and the top of a mountain. And everyone I met was on holiday or working in the hotel. So, I can say, I've been to Bulgaria. What's it like? I don't know. What's Bulgaria like? I don't know. It was white. There was a lot of snow when I went there. What are the people like? Well, the ones I met were nice because they were all being paid to be nice. They were waitresses. I mean, predominantly... Isn't that weird? I don't remember one man working in the hotel. The only men that I saw, the ones in the band, because they had the band while we're eating, which was difficult to eat while that was being played, and there was someone screeching at the front. It was just different music. That's all. Very different music. and different food, and very different food, very different. I couldn't really eat the food. I tried. So what I did is I would have a pizza afterwards, because they had a pizza place in the restaurant or in the hotel somewhere, either that hotel or the adjoining ones, because there was basically, if you knew where to go, you could go to the other hotels as well, the other bars, and there was a big pool bar that none of the people I was with knew about. It was literally a bar above a pool, big massive pool, but it wasn't in the hotel. Well, it was, but it was kind of almost more in the next hotel, and the people I was with, they pretty much stayed in one bar the whole time. We moved around to another one, but yeah, there was another one on the last night, I think. Unless it was the same one. It might have been the same one. Yeah. I tell you, it's weird because on arriving, I was on the reception with this lady, and we hit it off. It's a long time ago when things like that could happen. And I liked her, and she seemed to like me, and I thought, oh, this would be nice. Maybe get to know her a bit, perhaps have a chat, hold hands, fall in love, have babies, things like that. And the next day, she wasn't there. It turned out she was on holiday. I didn't see her again. At least I didn't think I did, because she came up to me on the very last night and started talking to me, but I didn't recognise her. And I was a little bit drinky, had a bit to drink. And the next day, as we were coming up, going to the reception to collect my passport and stuff, I'm like, oh, you're back. She said, yeah, I was back yesterday. Don't you remember? I said, no. And the weird thing is, we still hit it off to the point where we were talking, and she walked to the coach with me, talking to me, and gave me a hug. I don't know if we kissed, I can't remember. But really, almost like we didn't want to leave each other. And of course she walked to the coach, she was saying goodbye to everyone. No, with me. She didn't hug anyone else. And everyone on the coach was waiting for me to get on. And I was busy. No, I wasn't doing anything. I just kind of wish I could have stayed just for another hour or so. But yeah, it was lovely. The only man I saw was the snowboard instructor, as far as to do with the resort. I saw loads of men there. God, the place was full of men, but no staff that were men. Yeah, that was a weird week. The worst part of it was the snowboarding. That's a fact. For me, that was the worst part. It seems no point doing something like that. That makes no sense to me. Strapping both feet onto one bit of wood. And also the whole you have to go against your own tuition. For example, leaning backwards or leaning forwards. You need to sort of, I think, the way to stop it, I think, was by leaning backwards, and the way to go is leaning forwards or the other way around. I forget. And finding out quite early that their whole language is back, or I want to say back to front, but the opposite to ours. Not the whole language, but yes and no, which is quite an important part of the language, isn't it? So when they nod yes, it means no. And when they nod no, it means yes. Which is confusing normally, but when I was had a few drinks, it's very confusing. But how can you, the whole world, go yes, no, but just you decide, nope, we're going to do it the other way. Because we're different. No, I don't know. Maybe it's the same in other places as well, but it's the only place. Yeah, maybe. But then I've met people from all over Europe, like Eastern Europe, in England. I've worked with people from Eastern Europe. I've dated people from Eastern Europe, and not one of them did that, opposite head nod. I mean, I remember the Eastern Europe. I think she was from Poland. The lady that I went with. I went out with someone from Poland and another one from somewhere else. And I used to say to her, "Am I the most handsome man that you've ever dated?" And she'd always nod her head yes. So obviously she meant yes. Or was she from Bulgaria? She might have been, I don't know. But I think also in Bulgaria, if they're with a Westerner, if they're trying to speak English, then they're going to try and do the correct nodding, aren't they? I say the correct, the nodding that most other countries use. Because technically there's no correct, is there? There is, we know there is, don't we? But, just to be kind. He was in quite a few different shows, the old Mr. Scott Atkinson. Confessions of a Teenage, okay. "2013 Kirsty." Is that the TV show that I once... Kirsty Allen? I saw that. Is it the one? Michael Richards is in that one as well. I don't think it's the one I'm thinking of, because 2013, yeah, it might be. But did she play herself? She might do. I don't remember. Oh, are you ready to hear the dustman? Right. The dustman will be here about 7:30. It's now 7:44. I'm going to leave it in so you can hear what they sound like. Vinny won't bark, but this is what they sound like every time they come. They'll be here in a minute. You might not be able to hear them as well as I do, because the microphone might not pick up much of it. But this is what you hear if you're in bed at 7:30 on a morning. Let's say you don't have to get up till 8. you don't want to be woken up at 7:30, do you? Right, I can kind of hear them. Can also hear a dog in the background, in the distance, which I'm surprised that the dog over the fence hasn't picked up on yet. I think the dog will the dog will bark as well when the dustmen get here. Why do you keep saying dustmen? You should say dust people or refuge collectors. I probably should say refuge collectors, but I think I've only ever seen a female collecting on the dust carts in my life, and I've been around. I'm not, there might be millions in the world, I don't know, but there's not. It might be mainly women that work on the refuge collections, but it's not. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's like, yeah, well, it's not. It's like lorry drivers. Women are lorry drivers too, yeah. To being a specific number of lady lorry drivers. No, it's not many compared to men. And there won't be many men either once everything becomes automatic, non-driving lorries. In a way, I'm quite looking forward to that. Not being in one, because that concerns me a little bit. But then, for me, I've always been a passenger. So I've never been in control of the vehicle that I've been in, whether it's a train, a plane, a car, a lorry, whatever I'm travelling in, a bus, a coach. I've never been in control. The only time I've been in control of a vehicle is when I've been on a bike or a skateboard. And if you ever saw me on a skateboard, you'd argue that as well. Well, you weren't in control of that, which is true. So a bike. Did I ever tell you I got hold of a bike? I bought one probably about 7 years ago, I'd say. It's a guess. It was from Del Boy up the road. And I rode it. I rode it into the field and everything was going really well, considering I hadn't ridden a bike for a long time. Yeah, my bum was hurting, but it's one of those things, isn't it? And I'm going and I'm getting building up speed. And I get into this field. Oh, here we go. Ready for the dustman and the dog. Sometimes that dog's all day. So the dog is barking at the dustman, probably collecting their side. They'll be here in a minute, and you hear them. Rah, 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 rah. Possibly a weird thing to leave in, but I thought about just recording the whole day of the dog and just posting it so you can have a listen. 12 hours of a dog barking. And yeah, it's not 12 hours solid. You might even go a whole hour without anything. But there's periods when it's literally, you're lucky if you go 5 minutes. I feel like I'm a news broadcaster waiting for the new Prime Minister to come out of number 10, Downing Street. And there's a podium and a microphone and hundreds of photographers and maybe loads of members of Parliament standing either side of the door just waiting for the Prime Minister to come out. But I have to keep talking until they actually do come out. And guaranteed, as soon as I start interviewing someone, the door will open and the Prime Minister will come out. I feel a little bit like that, but without the Prime Minister and 10 Downing Street and all the reporters and all the members of Parliament and being outside. But other than that, it's exactly the same. That period, it's like, you know, when it's like a major event and you got reporters and it's so big that that's the only thing you're going to see on TV, on the news stations, or maybe normal TV, depending on how big the event is. But they run out of things to talk about after the first hour, maybe sooner, and then they just keep repeating what they've already said. And then they start talking about stuff that maybe isn't that relevant. Like, a bird just went past, something like that. And that tree over there, that's been there for 300 years. There was once a puddle down there. Like in the winter there was a puddle, and then the summer came and the puddle just seemed to stay for ages. It was such a big puddle. And then the sun came out and it was gone within about 4 days. But 4 days to dry up a puddle just shows you how big the puddle was. Oh, here he comes. The new Prime Minister. This week's Prime Minister. Beep, 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 beep. I'll tell you a job that I thought I'd be quite good at. You know those TV channels that sell stuff? Is it QVC? Where they just sell a bunch of stuff and they just talk and they go on and on and on and on and on, just talking about whatever. And they're just trying to sell you a toaster. And you're supposed to talk, and for like an hour, maybe there's an hour slot where you're trying to sell a toaster and give lots of really amazing examples of how good this particular toaster is at making toast. I actually thought about doing that in the early 90s as being my act. I'd just go on stage and I'd get someone and I'd have it as, I'd like present myself as being, one of those TV seller people, and get someone just to give me an item to sell them, and then talk for 10 minutes about the item and, just make stuff up on the spot. But I never did. I might have been quite good at that. I did go to what's it called? When you ad-lib. Oh, here we go, listen. The dog. Can you hear that? The dustman must be on the way. Oh, come on. The one time I want the dog to bark, and it won't. Oh, anyway, yeah, I phoned up the police and told them, and they said, how long did it last, the scream? So I had to kind of reenact it. It's like, and I said it did feel like it had a little bit of an echo as well. That's why I think it might have been in the distance. And he said, oh. I said, no, it didn't sound like I did it. Because firstly, I can't screech, I can't scream that high which to me says it might not have been a middle-aged man. You know, I might have been able to scream that high when I was younger, I don't know. And I said, I don't know if maybe it was a car screeching, but didn't sound like that, and that wouldn't normally make my dog bark. We hear cars screeching, car alarms going off. None of that stuff affects him during the day, even not even at night, but not during the day either. He doesn't care about that stuff. He doesn't even bark at the dog barking, and he won't bark at the dustbin people, because you'll hear him, because he's with me now. He's not bothered by that stuff. He does get... I just thought maybe it was the baby. I forgot about that. There's a baby across there. I just hear it crying now, but babies can let off a big scream, can't they? Maybe that's all it was. Hopefully that is all it was. But I couldn't leave it. It was so... Also, Vinny doesn't bark at the baby crying. And it was so loud. Like really, really loud. Like really, really loud. And I said, look, I don't want to waste your time. But you sound nice, so what are you doing after your shift? Do you fancy going out for a coffee? I didn't say that. Of course I didn't say that. I said, like, you know, I figured it's better to just let you know, because they might get one call and think, it's a fox. Because I think that's what he was getting at. It's probably a fox. I know what foxes sound like. I lived in London for 12 years. You hear foxes every night in London. And sometimes hear them here, and they do sound... It sounds awful. But there's a certain sound that foxes make, and it doesn't sound like what I heard. And it doesn't sound anything like that baby across there either. Although Vinny is listening now. But then he's attached to the baby because the baby's mother is his girlfriend. And I think he's a little bit jealous. Oh. So anyway, I just said, okay, that is the situation. But I thought I'd let you know, because I thought if they get one phone call, they might just dismiss it. But they might get a few phone calls. I might not be the only person that heard it. I mean, if Vinny heard it and I heard it, with our windows closed, apart from just on the latch, other people may well have heard it as well. And so it possibly woke up quite a few people, but they wouldn't have known what woke them up, because it didn't continue. But there's always going to be people awake. You know, not everybody's... I mean, there's a bloke over there does night shift, and his windows are open, so he must have the time off, must be on holiday, or have, you know, the days he doesn't work. He might stay in bed all day, or he might go to bed at night. I don't know, but having done night shift in the past, it's very difficult, I found, to try and sleep differently on the days off. I mean, I did a night shift job which was Monday to Friday. That's years and years ago. So when it came to Saturday, I had to go to sleep, but I did try and kind of have a normal weekend where I went to bed at night. But when I was a security guard and I was doing 12-hour shifts, and it was sometimes 7 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week. But it was never, you know, when I had a day off, it'd be I'd maybe do 2 days and a day off, then 5 days or 3 days, like that. There'd be no way I could change my sleeping routine just for that day, because it would have messed me up. So I would be asleep during the day, the same as normal, and be up all night. I mean, if I had a girlfriend or whatever, I might get up and spend the day with her, or spend the afternoon, so go to bed and then get up a bit earlier than I would normally. But I was a lot younger back then. I could do it. I was able to. And it's weird actually, because when I was 18, I slept. I could sleep for 12 hours straight. But then when I was 20, I had jobs where sometimes I was doing 16-hour shifts. When I was 26, I actually got asked to do a 24-hour shift. Dustmen are coming. I kind of want you to hear. I mean, it's probably not ideal for a sleep recording to have a dog barking in the background, but if you can notice, there's no one telling a dog to be quiet. Which you'd think, it's now 3 minutes past 8, so it's not technically early. But if someone's dog's barking, it's the owner's job to say, "Oi, shh," which is what I do with Vinny. I wouldn't be surprised if she's just standing out there watching him bark. I can't look though, because I've got a light on and my neck curtains are drawn over too far, so they could see me looking out the window. Sometimes it's like non-stop. I mean, there's an added echo to it. It's like, yeah. Oh, I think we've got a dust people coming. The dustman woman, the refuge. People. I used to do that job. I was a road sweeper for a while, for a little bit. I used to clean housing estates. I used to clean supermarkets. I used to clean offices. So many different jobs I've had over the years. Kitchen porter numerous times. The thing about being a kitchen porter that used to really annoy me is the chefs they'd use like a big old saucepan for soup. And then, once it was empty, they just leave it on the side near the sink instead of putting any water in. If they'd put water in, it would have soaked it, made it easy to clean it. But no, they just left it so it dried. So it's really difficult to clean. Never really understood that. I mean, that's the hardest part thing for me was of being a kitchen porter, was the pans, the pots and pans. The dishes, that was almost so easy. Because I was doing that when I was a kid at school. I was working in a restaurant. We used to do it in the evenings, sometimes on a weekend as well. But we'd just basically wash. There'd be a dishwasher, like one of the industrial ones. Just empty the plates, scrape off the plates, rinse. So you'd rinse the plates before putting them into the washer, and then it'd be washed, and it'd take, I don't know, like a few minutes to be done. And then the plates would come out and they were super hot. Then we'd put them on the side ready to be used to serve again. Because if it was busy, which it always pretty much was busy, especially we did a wedding, because they had a upstairs restaurant and a function room which was for weddings, really, like occasions anyway. They would get through the plates all at the same time. Unlike a restaurant where they'd be ordering stuff and you'd have different tables coming and going, at a wedding, like they try and serve everyone at the same time, don't they? Which meant we were getting plates from downstairs to cover the plates upstairs. And they'd be moaning, we need more plates. Well, I forgot my pottery wheel, I'm afraid. I can't create you any more plates. Which I was pleased that I came up with that so quickly. It's a very quick ad-lib, but they didn't seem to appreciate it. It's kind of weird that they allowed me to work there, because, no, don't worry, I was wearing pants, but it was a family-run organisation, a family-run restaurant. But I didn't get on with the lady that worked in the kitchen. And it was one man who ran the bakery, his wife that ran upstairs, his sister ran the kitchen, and I think another sister ran the waiter, the restaurant. So it was a family occasion, and even their partners, husbands and wives, worked there as well. Well, the woman who ran the kitchen, who was the sister of she was one of the owners, me and her didn't get on, and we would shout at each other. And she never sacked me. And even her brothers or her sisters would come down and not get involved. It's almost like they knew what she was like, and they thought, well, yeah, good, someone's standing up to her. I used to be like that when I was a kid. When I was like 13, yeah, probably about 12 actually at the time. I didn't care. So I wouldn't put up with rubbish from anyone, whether they were kids or adults. Like verbally, I just wouldn't put up with it. And I used to just shout at her, make fun of her. She was the boss. She owned the restaurant. In fact, there was 2 restaurants they owned. And then her brother asked me one day, did I want to work in the bakehouse? which meant going in on Saturday, Sunday morning early. And I said, yeah, jumped at the chance, because it was better than washing up. And it was. I thought it would be, and it was. And I worked there for a while. I did a whole summer there, where I was there pretty much 6 days a week during the summer holidays. It wouldn't have been 7 days, would it? That would have been too much. Unless it was 7 days. I don't think so. I wouldn't have been there every day of the week. But I was there for at least five mornings a week. Maybe I did do 7 hours. But it wasn't the whole day. I mean, I'd start at 6 on a Saturday and 5 on a Sunday, I think it was. So 6 o'clock, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. So yeah, and I'd finish about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So it was an 8-hour day. So I guess, yeah, it was full time. Kind of. It wasn't. And I was getting paid, wow, like 25 pence an hour or something like that. 50 pence an hour. It was really, really low money. But it was nice to have money of my own. Well, I did get pocket money, but it was, yeah, it felt nice to have my own cash that I could, I don't know what I did with it. I didn't really do much of it, but yeah, it was pretty groovy. But it did groovy indeed. Yes. That was weird. A baby cried over there and a door creaked downstairs. They sounded quite similar. How weird. Richard Kramer, or Cosmo Kramer, Michael Richards, was born in 1949. So he must have been 1949, 59, 69, 79, 89. So he was 40 years old when he started Seinfeld. And Seinfeld ran for 9 years to 98. 89 to 98. I remember watching Seinfeld, and it was, they used to show it really late at night in the UK or in England. I don't know about other parts of the UK, but where I lived, they showed it very late at night. Yeah, it was the biggest TV show, biggest comedy in America, and we didn't get to see it at any normal time. And that doesn't make sense to me, because Channel 4 was known, it wasn't on Channel 4, I think it was on BBC 2, but Channel 4 for years and years, like especially like late 80s, 90s, they had a slot between 8 and 10 where they showed, basically Friday evening was comedy evening on Channel 4, and they would have usually 4 American shows on, like Roseanne, The Golden Girls, Cheers, I don't know, like those kind of TV shows, like the really popular ones in America, would be on in England on Channel 4. home improvements. There was quite a few actually. I'm just Ellen. Or was Ellen on BBC Two? I think Ellen was on Channel 4. So they had all these different. So every time a season came to an end, they'd put a different show on, and then they'd show another one. And so Cheers wasn't on all the time because it'd run out, and then it'd be replaced with, let's say, the Golden Girls. But Seinfeld wasn't on there. Friends was when it came out. And what's that one with all the what's-its? The Brainiacs. I forget. They're all like professors and stuff. That comedy that used to be on as well. I don't think Channel 4 even do it anymore. They don't have that Friday evening thing. Otherwise, I'd still be watching it. But Seinfeld was on late at night, in the middle of the week, on I think BBC Two, maybe BBC One, but it was almost hidden. No promotion. Nothing. The biggest TV show in the Western world, and we didn't have anything to do with it. We didn't get to really know about it. I mean, a lot of people know about it now, and it's been shown on Sky and stuff, I think. But it's nice to see TV shows when they're out. When they're first out, not 20 years later. Because it means more, in a way. I don't know, but like a lot of people watched Friends, and it had such a big impact on them because it was part of their growing up. So maybe they watched Friends when they were at the same age as the actors in Friends. They were in their 20s, and they watched that, or they were in their teens, aspiring to be like that, knowing that they'd soon be in that age group. So 30 years later, they're watching it, feeling nostalgic, not just for the TV show, but for their own life that was around at that time. But if you don't see it when it's first on, I can't be nostalgic really about Seinfeld. I did watch it a few times. I didn't realise it was popular at the time. I didn't realise really until I moved to London that who Jerry Seinfeld was, because he was never mentioned. He was never mentioned in my town. That was a definite do not mention Jerry Seinfeld. I grew up with that. The first thing I was told when I was 7: don't mention Jerry Seinfeld, and don't drink the seawater. That's a shame, because I've never watched more than a few episodes, and I know it's easy to stream it now, but it's just the moments past in some ways. It'd be like watching Cheers now, having never watched it when it was on. It'd still be funny, but it's the development of the characters, and it's a popular phrase these days is it was of its time. Because you watch it now like, wait a minute, no one's using a mobile phone, because they weren't, because mobile phones weren't around then. No one's using a smartphone. No one's, it's like, it's just people talking. And because this started in about 82, did it? Cheers, 84. So 82, 84. I started watching Cheers when I got my black and white TV. It blew me away. It did. Not just Vinny's moaning, you want to go for a walk? And if you're licking your lips because you're hungry, eat your dinner. Hey? The dustmen have not come. Literally, they've not come. They're normally here by 7:30. And I'm talking 7:30 pretty much on the dot for the last 11 years. And 2 weeks ago they came at about 10:30. So maybe they just changed the routine, changed their procedure or whatever. I wanted to let you hear what it's like. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I take him out for a walk. I'm going to leave the recording on so that you can hear it. So if they come, no, because then if the battery runs out, I'll lose the recording, and that's no good. And I've got 55% of the battery left. It doesn't tell me how long that let's have a look. Does it? No, it doesn't tell me how long that will last. Probably another hour. Yeah, easily another hour. And I won't be out for more than half an hour. Will I, Vin? You want to go for a walk? Oh, we've got his paw up like, please, Daddy, take me out and give me lots of treats. I don't have any treat. Oh, you know what he did last night, right? I got this thing where I brush my teeth, clean my teeth, get ready for bed, check all the doors, just basically make sure everything's secure, come into the bedroom, I turn the radio on or put some music on, because otherwise he will be listening out for every single sound. So I have to have that on to cover up for him. For me, I'd be happy to have no sound, but hey. And I give him a treat. That's what I do. Last night, I had the treat on me, but I wanted to get undressed because, it's hot. So I'm just in my underpants. Try not to imagine that. I don't want to put you off your day. And I had 3 treats, and I put them onto the pillow, his pillow, but I said, leave. Don't touch them yet. I've never seen him move so quickly. He grabbed them. And he swallowed them instantly. Didn't chew them. Normally, it only takes a couple of, like 2-3 seconds to chew each one. But he didn't even bother. He grabbed them so quickly, and they were gone. He just swallowed them. And he looked at me, and I just couldn't stop laughing, because I've never seen him do that before. He just looked at me as if, like, what are you going to do now? Like, I'm not going to do anything. It was so ridiculous. He didn't need to do that. It's not like I'm going to put them down and then, like, take them away from him. They were his. So you could argue, well, they were his, he can take them. But normally, if I say leave, he leaves. He doesn't touch them. In fact, I can put something down on the table, say leave, I'll come out, and it will still be there. He won't touch it. He's good like that. Not last night. But then these treats specifically, he really likes them. They're probably now his favourites. I don't know what it is about them, but he can't get enough of them. Right, you want to go for a walk? Right, we're going to go for a walk. When I edit this, maybe I might go back and try and edit out the dog barking. I don't know, I kind of want you to hear it, so you hear what I'm dealing with on a daily basis, just so you realise why I can't necessarily always make recordings, and why it's very hard to make a hypnosis recording with that. I can't make a hypnosis recording when Vinny's in the room, because he just will bark or he doesn't notice the bar, but he's very fidgety indeed. Okay, Vinny, right, I've got to go. So thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy, and be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye. I think you might actually need the toilet. See ya.